Welcome to BrainStation. Welcome to Everyone's a Builder Now. Excited to have everyone here. Presented by TechTank, Everyone's a Builder Now. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Nikki. I'm the co-chair, event organizer. I'm also a web dev at Docebo, who is sponsoring this event. Super excited to have partnered with our team, as well as our awesome leadership team, to share insights on how AI is changing the way we work inside tech companies, but also the industry as a whole. So, yeah. And thank you, Docebo, for the delicious food. Before we get started, I'm just curious who's in the room today. If I can get people to raise their hands. Do we have engineers? Cool. AI data people? Okay. Product people? Designers? All right. Marketing? Any people's operations folks? Yeah? Okay, cool.
All in line too.
Yeah, all in line. Cool. I think part of the point of the talk was to everyone's a builder now, so nice to see a mix of different folks in the room. A little bit about TechTank. Is this anyone's first event? People? Yeah. Oh, cool. So TechTank has been around for 3 years. We just celebrated our 3-year anniversary. We had a nice little rodeo party. So yeah, we've been around for a while. We're a grassroots community tech organization. Our mission is to really be an inclusive community and build spaces and event programming that help people build meaningful connections and learn from each other and grow in their careers. And we run different types of events like this one, the Tech Talk, panels. We also run socials. We have the rodeo. But last week we also had a run club. So we do all sorts of fun stuff. We have a sports team called the Sashimis. They have a softball league right now. I also, for the last couple of years, have been running Code Diversity, which is a monthly coffee chat for women and gender diverse people in tech. So yeah, we do a lot. We do what our volunteers want to do, what they want to build. Some of our volunteers, we're 100% volunteer run. We rely on sponsorship and fundraising for events. Here's some of the volunteers today. I think the only person not here is Tanya, but she did design the rat stickers if anyone saw those. They're really cute. And also thank you to, I think, Amanda, what am I missing? Eileen, Tony, it's probably a couple people not here. Here's the full list of volunteers working behind the scenes. We have the website team, we have people moderating our Slack, social media, design, hosting events like this one. Thank you, volunteers, and keep us going. So, for anyone interested, we do have a Slack if you want to continue the conversation there. Share what you're building, ask questions. You're welcome to join and talk to people you've met today. We also have a events calendar on Luma, so you can subscribe if you want to stay posted on any upcoming events. So, give people a second to scan that. Okay. And then thank you to our sponsor, Docebo today, and our venue partner, BrainStation, for letting us use this beautiful space. Stick around for the end. Stay for the full panel because we'll have some swag to give away, some cute, colorful socks, and a Claude, a 6-month Claude subscription. So stick around. We'll do we'll do a little draw. Okay, now passing things over to Natalie from BrainStation to share what we got.
Thank you so much, Nikki. Hi, everyone. My name is Natalie. I'm on the community team here at BrainStation. Just wanted to take a quick moment to say thank you guys for coming out to the space. I'm going to do the hand thing again. Quick show of hands. Who's been to BrainStation before? Okay, cool. Awesome. And who's here for the first time? Sweet. Well, welcome back to some of you. Welcome to some new faces. So for those who don't know, BrainStation is the leader in digital skills and AI training. We work with professionals like yourselves in training across the entire digital spectrum: product, marketing, data, AI. We also work with industry-leading organizations in training teams to ensure they're equipped with the skills needed to succeed in today's digital economy. So at BrainStation, we do this through professional certifications, enterprise workshops, as well as our own events. So we regularly run events here. I definitely recommend you check them out on our website. There's lots that would be relevant to those in this room. So I'll leave it off with this. BrainStation was founded 14 years ago right here in Toronto, actually just up the street. But our core mission has remained the same, and that's that we are a hub for Toronto professionals to come together and connect and push ideas forward through continued conversation. So that's why we love to open up our space to awesome groups like TechTank to continue these conversations. So if you guys are in store for a great event tonight, I do hope to see your faces in the space again soon. Enjoy. Thank you so much.
Right. They had a lot of slides, but Kyle.
I should have came up closer. I'm sorry. As I'm walking up. Thank you. Can we give it up for the volunteers again? I'm also going to take offense to the fact that you all cheered for Claude Code and not for the socks. As the marketing leader at Docebo, I'm taking offense to that. Okay, so before we get our esteemed panel up here, which I realize none of us have, well, Scott, you have hair. You just decided that's it. But none of us really have hair, but that's okay. I'm going to give you an overview of Docebo in like 30 seconds. Is that all right? I don't want to drone up here because you can all go to the website. You can all read about what we do. But first, I think it's important that we talk about how we say the name, because I know all of you are confused. It took me a long time. I've been here a while now. Can we all say it together? Okay, on the count of three. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Docebo. Let's do it. Somebody screwed it up. Say it one more time. Count 3. 1, 2, 3. Docebo. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Good job.
What does it mean, Kyle?
That's not on the slide.
It's
Oh my
Latin.
God, what does it mean?
It's Latin, and it means I will teach.
Latin, I will teach. I should have known that as the CMO. Thank you, Scott.
I'm just here to point out that you don't know.
I'm so glad that the only marketers in here are people that work for Reshaping. So, okay, 900 employees, 900 plus employees. We have 10 offices. We have over 3,500 customers globally. We are dual listed on TSX and NASDAQ, customers in 90 countries. It's spread across multiple verticals: software, government, pharma, retail. I don't know. Do we know how many do we have here in Toronto?
200-ish.
200-ish in Toronto. We also are in Atlanta and across Europe as well. Okay? So why we exist is pretty simple. We are currently in the most instrumented workforce in history. Does anybody want to, sorry, I'm going to call on somebody. I'm just going to stand up here awkwardly until somebody answers. What does instrumented mean to you? When I say that, what does that mean? Instrumented workforce in history. What did everybody cheer about? Claude. Everybody has every single damn tool on the face of the planet as an employee or personally, and we're using none of those tools to actually help people do their best work, do great work. Especially the companies that we all work for. It's very hard for people to take all that data and use it meaningfully to progress your career as an individual, right? Especially for a lot larger companies. But the reason we exist is putting people at the center of their skill development, all the learning that they need to do, and evaluating those people in companies, right? And learning is most important because everybody is learning differently. Who learns on YouTube? Whoa, only a few of you. Am I missing a cool website now to learn on? TikTok?
Reddit.
Snapchat? Reddit? The point is, we are learning in multiple different ways as people, as individuals, and with AI it's even more pronounced, right? And so we live in the center of that, and we put people in the center of that as well as a platform. And that is done across skills development, learning, role-playing on sales coaching, and also enterprise knowledge, which we're not going to get into. You can go to the website, you can talk to Scott after the fact, or any of us actually. If you're from Docebo, could you raise your hand in here? They're all on the, you guys could have spread out. Oh, you're doing film in the front row? Okay, thanks. So, if you want to talk about the product platform, we can after the fact, but we're also trusted by a lot of cool people and a lot of cool organizations. And if you want to come build with us, the QR code was on the screen beforehand. Here's our open roles here, and we have some of our currently open roles in Toronto, and there is many, many more that you will have to scroll through on the website. Okay? And we'll put it up at the end. I'm not judging anybody that didn't put up their phone, just saying. All right. And what Nikki has already said?
Oh yeah, also our talent team is here.
Yeah, talent team is here. Stand up, talent team. They're the ones in the row. Give it up for our talent team. That was good. That was good. Do you want to talk about the swag?
Already did.
Oh, we already did. Great. All right. Scott, Nitin, come up here. Let's give it up for them. Okay. Do you want to talk about what you do first, y'all?
Good idea. Hello, everyone. I was lucky enough to speak with a couple of you. Interestingly and kind of fun, I actually got my slide off further away. This is really my.
We all talk a little loud.
Yeah. Are there ones? They don't have to. I got my start actually at BrainStation. So it's kind of a funny coincidence that I'm back here now having a conversation. But back in the day I quit my job. I was in sales, and I was like, "This tech, the nerds make more money than me, and they're having more fun." And I quit my job, went back to software development, started my own company because no one would hire me, and then eventually, made the right websites with the right people and ended up at Docebo. But it's just fun because these kind of events have a huge impact and can completely change your path. So I'm now head of product at Docebo. Been there for 7 years, and I'm convinced these guys know what software does. So.
Yes.
That might do something. Hey everyone, my name is Nitin. Written like Nitin or Kitten, one of those things, but that's how you say my name. I am CIO at Docebo and CISO. What that means is I look after internal technology, internal AI, as well as all cybersecurity and internal. So I like to close the doors and not lose any data. That's really the goal of the day. I am a nerd during the day and at night. That's what I do. And Claude offer got me excited because I'm always out of credit, so it's pretty awesome. I've been in the tech world since, this mic is really something. I don't know what the right sweet spot is. I like to bring up here. I've been in the tech since probably early on, early 2000s, 15, 20 years of experience. My sweet spot is always working for tech organizations. I like to work in tech. That's what I like to work for. I don't like to work for large organizations. I don't like to work for tiny organizations. I know what I like, and that's where I'm at. Okay, was a sweet spot for me. This is the place that gives me energy, and I love it every day. So I've been looking forward to talking a lot of things.
Speaking of what you like, what's your favorite tool right now? I didn't prep you for this, but
No.
I keep up to date on tools from Nitin Slack, basically.
I mean, honestly, probably OpenCloud. It's my most interesting thing right now still.
And we can use that at Docebo.
Oh, no, I mean, definitely. I'm the one who said, like, no, this is not allowed. And I got a site computer running on it, but not allowed to take, but I'm rules for the, yeah. Look, rules for people who are, I'm safe.
OpenCloud's still your favorite?
I think so. I mean, I just got bird meetings called this weekend, but OpenCloud's still my favorite.
Okay. You got an answer too.
I live my whole life out of my Anthropic setup, both personally. So I actually Glean, and not just Glean, but Granola. So if anyone knows note-taking tools, I've taken note-taking to a whole different level, and my girlfriend sometimes gets mad at me because she'll catch me recording a conversation. I'm like, well, I don't want to forget what we're talking about. I have to summarize this stuff. So whenever she calls me on WhatsApp or something, there's note-taking.
That's a little too
I
much.
would not recommend that.
When the AI overlords come, they're going to be they know everything about me, so it's fine.
So every time I call you, you're reporting me?
Note-taker apps,
Okay.
but note-taker apps are definitely the peak of, because that feeds everything else, right? It gives context to everything else. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna get into it then. First question is for Scott. This is the first time in my marketing career where I felt behind product and engineering. First time ever. Marketers, Docebo marketers in the room. Most of the time in marketing, you're usually trying to push product and engineering as much as you possibly can when it comes to how you're positioning the product in the market, messaging across the board. The past 15 years of my career has been asking, when are we going to launch something? And now, it's the exact opposite today, where marketing is now trying to keep up with product and engineering because we are shipping so much all the time because of these tools, right? So, because it's unlike anything I've ever seen, and probably you've ever seen in terms of launching, but most companies are still making product decisions in the old way. What's actually broken about how organizations decide to build now, and how are you changing it at Docebo?
Yeah, I mean, I can speak for the SaaS side of things, because in B2C it's very different, but when you're in B2B, you're dealing with organizations that every time we make a change, they have to make a change, right? And sometimes multiple changes. So one of the challenges that I've seen and we've had to conquer is we want to build fast, we want to ship fast. That was always the rule, is the faster you get us in the door and the highest quality, of course, free of bugs and defects. Like, that's always good, get it out faster. But organizations now are asking us to slow down because they can't handle the pace of change that we were able to put out. And so we've had to be really, really careful about the structure of our releases, how do we communicate our releases, and that has to be the first thing we think about in the product as opposed to like one of the last things, right? By the time you get through the whole funnel, you've had to have a conversation with marketing. So marketing especially is a part of the initial conversations in the same way that back in the day you have like a product trio, you have engineering, design, and product all working together on the initial concepts. A lot of the times we have to include marketing in those initial concepts because by the time we're done ideating, building it, and it's ready to ship, that's like just enough time to get the marketing campaign ready to go. So trying to do so in a standard waterfall format is asking for trouble, and you're asking for a lot of stress on the different teams. It's just a lot of stressor points, and I think these days, taste is more important, because like, execution is much more, there's a lot more execution capacity, but taste and control and prioritization are more important there.
You want to add?
You just nod.
No, you're just gonna nod? Okay, well, I'll give you a question, Nitin. Actually, this is for both of you, but I'm gonna start with Nitin. Based off the theme, everyone's a builder now. That's empowering, and we know it's empowering. I would say, I've said this publicly, I'll say it here as well. Nitin is by far, Nitin is by far the best CIO I've ever worked with in terms of empowering an organization on using AI. Now, problem is that it's also organized chaos when that happens. Where do you see the line between those two things inside Docebo? And how do you know when you've crossed it's genuinely empowering and it's organized chaos?
I think for one, quite honestly, the chaos is everywhere, not just Docebo. It doesn't matter if you look at product engineering, different aspects of the organization and the world that's going through AI right now, period. I think it is a place to embrace chaos right now. I don't think it's a moment that we're in for organizations, like the other peers and CIOs that I chat with. What I tell them always right now is, I'm just doing a talk last week as well, if you're going out there and waiting for the right moment to allow build to happen, or give people the right tools when everyone's figured it out, you're just too late. You're too late as an organization, you're too late as a leader. You're going to sit back and just wait. I think the point right now is to embrace the chaos. Allow the people in the organization to experiment, to try different things, and know that not everything is going to work. I think that's just a fact. I think it is okay, because what we knew what technology could do just 6 months ago looks dramatically different to what it
I'm
is.
sorry, like last week.
Yeah, I like these 6 months, because I think of like, Opus model came out, and then everything else was just iteration of it. But I agree, but you're right, last week. And it's going to change again. The fact is, like, the race is just, we're in the first innings, guys. We're in the first innings of this AI race. We're not at the 9th inning, for anyone that plays baseball, we understand that. But this, if you just look at trillions of dollars that are being poured out there, this is just the beginning. It's going to shift what we believe the careers look like, who the individuals are, what the jobs look like, and how companies organize and work themselves. We're about to go through a massive change, and some are already going through it right now. So my mindset is embrace the chaos, try new things, experiment, because when you don't, you either fall behind or people will go out and do things on their own anyways. So you gotta be able to implement.
And that's related to the, like, what is the old crazy way of doing things is like, you can't have a 2-year roadmap anymore.
Yeah.
That's like an impossible thing. I remember I was talking to a prospect, now a customer. We were talking to a prospect at the time. They're like, "Can you give us your 24-month AI roadmap?" And I'm like, "Can you? Like, it's not a thing you can do. You plan roughly what you want to be executing in the next 6 months. If you're really ambitious, you can be like, directionally, we'll be doing this stuff in a year. But it really is month to month, quarter to quarter, kind of much shorter windows. And I think if you're just trying to build something and deploy it 9 months from now or 12 months from now, you're missing the point. And it's more iterative. Like, how quickly can you deliver chunks of value to your customers? Because you're going to have to modify your path as you go. It's like multiple segments of a snake rather than just dropping a ladder and hoping it lands exactly where you want it to be. So,
Yeah, I think that also plays into security and governance, which is normally been reactive, right? Like, I'm really good at the phishing emails, I'd have to say. Do you agree with that, Nick?
Yeah, I think you're one of
I
the
catch almost all of them.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. So I should get some type of award for that.
We should get Mark here and see what he says. He's our CRO, he's at the bottom of the list.
Yeah,
Mark performs.
Mark's terrible at
but
that.
at least you know he reads every email.
He
It
does.
does get everything, that's for sure. But now, because we're building super fast, it's really hard for governance to keep up, right? And so how do you think about staying ahead of that without becoming the person that like will slag me, the CMO, and be like, you can't do that. What are you doing? Like, I'm shutting all this down. Like saying no all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I try not to say no.
He doesn't.
I really try not to. And sometimes my security team's not a fan of that when I say we're gonna try certain things. But here's my viewpoint on it. And I think it's pretty pragmatic and practical. So just think of us, we're all humans here, I believe. So if I put you all in a box and I say, you can't get out of the box, like this is the box you're gonna be in here. Well, what's the first thing you're gonna do? You're gonna try to get out of the box. Because I told you not to get out of that box, so you're gonna try to get out of the box. So what we do usually, our mindset always in the organization is, what are people asking for? Why are they asking for certain things? We're not gonna be, we try to be bleeding edge in certain cases. I don't like to use the cutting edge at this point. Bleeding edge is the only thing that's valid. Cutting edge doesn't work, it's too late, too slow. But the idea behind that is,
We're just all bleeding out.
yeah, we're just
Over
bleeding
all
out
these AI tools.
all the time, through my veins. But the idea behind this really is like, give everyone a safe place to try things and experiment with things, because we don't know the answer. But the point is, if I say no to people, they will find a different way of doing it. So what I'd rather do is, I say, hey guys, what are you interested to solve? What are you trying to do with? And can I get an organization to settle on a few tools or products to open with? Give you a safe place to try it, at the end of the day, that's the goal for us. And the moment I close the door, I know people will go out and do it. I know a lot of peers in the market that went out 2 years ago, they're like, we're banning ChatGPT. I'm like, that was the most insane thing to hear in the market. Like, what do people do? They just open a side laptop on the side, and there the documents went on the ChatGPT. Like, it's just, you can't close those doors. When it's commercial, when it's out there, and consumers are using it, that's a lost battle. The security leader, that's not where you want to close the door. That's where you want to say, hey, we're going to give you what you want, but we're going to try to put guardrails around it every day. So you feel like you got your play box, but to me, that's just a bigger box. You feel like it's not a box, but it's a box, but it's just a bigger box. And you just don't end up in, and I can control it, I can manage it, I can secure the environment. And that's the way I look at it. I think we really try not to say no, we try to find the right middle ground and make sure we can enable people on it and give them a choice, play with things.
What do you, so in terms of your teams and how you're building out your teams, which roles do you think have changed the most? With
Yes.
everybody being with the order.
I'll say yes.
All of
I
them.
mean,
Because I agree with that.
you know,
Is there a specific one you think?
I'll comment first and then maybe get your thoughts, but design is closer than ever to the build process. So we have, we're working on a path right now to have designers actually able to check in code, right? And like, that's something that's historically very rare. When you're a designer, you have your lane, you kind of follow it. Product managers are doing a lot more design work than they ever have in the past, right? So product managers are kind of sometimes skirting ahead of design, coming up with an idea, following our design guidelines and our design principles, and then handing it to the design team to make it like look good, like to put the
Is
policy.
that a good thing?
takes to.
Is that a good thing?
Well, I think it is, as long as you're not just shipping code that a product manager wrote and built and no one looked at it, right? And I think that goes to the organized chaos. Everyone is building, everyone is doing stuff. I think literally every single person on my team has sent me at some point a mock-up of a new feature they want to put in the system. Right? It doesn't matter, you could say any role, any person, everyone's sent me something. But the idea is, how do I organize my thoughts across all these different ideas? Right? I mean, I have roughly 60 people on my team. Every single one of them sent me a mock-up for a new feature. We certainly aren't shipping everything in Q2. Right? Deepak's over there, and tell his engineering team to just make it happen. Here's 60 new features we're going to ship. But you also have to balance that against what our customers can absorb, what are the most highest impact things. And then, I mean, the other thing that we have to consider is the brain space required, not just of our internal teams, but of everyone down the line. How do you enable a sales team to pitch and successfully sell 60 new features in one quarter? It's almost impossible. Like, I can't even think. Sometimes my CEO will ask me, he'll say, like, what about this feature? And I'm like, I don't know what that is right now. Give me 5 minutes, I'm gonna go figure it out. And so I think it's important to recognize when you don't know something, be totally transparent about that. Trying to pretend like you know what's going on right now when you actually don't is so stressful because you're always playing this like game of you have it all under control. I mean, I think I recently got over this, but there was a period where I was kind of the most stressed in my life because of how much AI was changing tools, changing systems, changing everything we were doing. And to pretend like I just had it all under control is silly, right? So talking to people, being open about what you don't understand, and then leveraging people like Deepak, people like your engineers who have learned all their own areas is really key. I'm kind of going off topic, but that's just been my experience and how all these roles have changed because the lines are blurring. So you have to work together and you have to kind of organize things together.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I think there's two aspects about that question. So one is yes, like all roles are changing. And I think that's a fact. I think sooner people realize that and understand it. It doesn't matter which profession, which organization, which type of role you're in, it is going to get impacted and changed. If not already has, it is going to be months, years, it's just a matter of time. I think we're hiring differently. Like I'm hiring very differently than what I was hiring just 1 year ago. Certainly we're looking at, when we look to hire individuals, I'm not paying attention anymore for education, for example. I'm not looking at which university did you graduate from. It's not a thing for me anymore. It was some ways like if I'm looking for a concept person, I might look at that. I'm not looking at that anymore. I'm looking at you need the mindset of can you be a orchestrator? Can you run that differently? Can you think of the problem differently? Do you understand the scope of what you're trying to do? Because the more and more the roles are going to become to where it's, can you break down a problem? It's a systems thinking problem, right? You got to break the system down into small chunks, and can you connect those Lego pieces back and give AI the guidance how you go from beginning to the end of it? If you can manage that over and over, you're pretty damn good at most things. And you can do, doesn't matter, RevOps, finance, legal, different aspects. I'm not saying you got to be a lawyer stuff. I understand that. But you can actually do redlining across all the document and get 90% of the way there with AI and teach it guardrails and make it get better and you get over and over there. So yes, the rules are changing across the board. I think I always will say every person who's up here, every person that's outside of it, if you're not playing with AI one way or another, you're not doing service to yourself. And you need to go out and try things, write down, experiment more and more.
This was always kind of true for engineering roles where I remember 4 or 5 years ago, it mattered less what your education was and more how good your code is. That was always, for years, that's been a thing. But I think now that same rule is extending to a lot of other roles, right? It matters less what your education is, it matters less what your paper says. It's like paper chasers, I want to get my degree, my diploma, whatever. If you're not genuinely learning things, you don't care enough to dig into it, it doesn't really matter. You're not going to pass the first interviews. The other thing I will say is that I've heard, and I'm aware that in certain domains, certain industries, entry-level roles are a lot more difficult to break into right now just because everyone's saying, well, AI is replacing entry-level roles, isn't it? I I actually disagree with that. I mean, I think that it means that if you are good, genuinely intelligent, and you're a systems thinker, at an entry level, you can do more than any other entry level person ever could in the past. Yep. And so it's kind of flipped the coin a bit. We will always need people that are like 10 years of experience, 15 years of experience in engineering, so they can double check the crazy stuff that you and I are building.
Especially with marketing.
Especially with marketing building. Like everyone's a builder, so you're gonna need those senior level engineers. But more and more I'm saying that, entry level positions, you can make a much bigger splash of being powered by AI than you were in the past.
I think for us, marketing, we're hiring an agentic operator, which is basically an AI engineer for the marketing team. And this is the first time, I think, in my career where we have had a project before the person ever talks to anyone. And that's actually becoming more common for me, as I'm like, that is part of the interview process, is that I want to see how hands-on you actually are in some of these tools.
Yeah, the most successful resumes I've seen were actually web
Still
links.
resumes? Do you want to resumes?
Yes, all the time.
Oh yeah, I do too.
But like, sure, Kyle. Don't send your resume to Kyle. Send it to someone else.
No CVs here.
But like the most impressive ones that I've seen have been links to working websites, right? And it's not just a mock, but it's like a relevant mock, right? And it's just kind of interesting what you can see. So yeah, it's about the process more now than ever.
Yeah, like we hired recently a developer on our team, and actually, what made us hire that person was passion. At the end of the day, do you love, like, the example I give is like, people who are already like building stuff at night, they're already doing stuff at night, they're already using Claude every day at night, and they were like, Nitin, you're gonna hire me to do this, and you're gonna pay me for this? Holy crap, all right, let's go, like, I'm gonna come join you. I think we're looking for people for that. I think honestly it's that, like the point we talked about learning is there, like, how do you learn? You ask everybody YouTube. You just gotta go out there and learn and try these things and be the builder out there. For a lot of organizations, they need that. A little bit of mindset change, a little bit of craziness.
Let's go a little bit deeper. Like, what would you tell people who feel behind?
Oh man.
Which,
I think the three of us all feel behind when we're executives at a public company. Yeah. So I mean, like, yeah, us too. I think I mentioned it briefly, but like I would say the biggest thing that's unlocked something for me was stopping to pretend like I know more than I know and being so honest. It's almost like I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, I was in the workforce. But like 10 years ago, it was like a sign of pride that you know everything. Oh, this person's so intelligent, they have all the answers. And now I think it's almost the opposite. Like the more questions you ask, the more you're honest about what you don't know, and the more you dig the truth. That's more impressive to more people now. So it's a mind shift. And I think that's, if you feel behind, so does everyone else, but you could be the most honest about it. And it's like Socratic, right? There's a certain point where you think you know everything, and then the more you learn, you're like, oh, I know nothing. If you're on that side of the curve, that's healthy. If you're on the side where you think you know everything, that's probably not true.
I'd say there's a couple of super tactical things for me. If you're on a team and your manager or your team is not giving you space to learn these tools, I know this is easy for me to say, but find a new team.
Come join us. We got
Come join us. Oh yeah, come join Docebo. I actually did not mean to do that, but that was actually nice. I like that. But the other thing is, I had to set aside specific time. Mine was really early in the morning, where I would get up and spend an hour just reading about all this crap all the time, because I couldn't do it any other time, right? You could set aside time throughout the day to kind of learn, and we've got the right tools that they're able to do that, and that's a good thing. But I have 2 kids. We have, for those of you with children, there's not a lot of time outside of work to do other things. You just have to be very, very conscious of the amount of time you're spending trying to learn this stuff. Because any other way around, you're going to be left behind.
And watching videos isn't enough. You have to like,
Actually,
that's the biggest thing. Like I watched so many videos and I was like, I can theoretically do that. And I was like, I really learned something today. Just close down the YouTube channel. No, but like genuinely, like Lenny's podcast is good for if you're in the product side. A lot of the times they'll have somebody that that's showing you something, and then they'll give you the tools to do it yourself. Like they'll be like, okay, here's all my MD files. Like go use this to create your, your Claude version of your CTO or whatever. But I highly recommend Lenny's podcast just because they often include some kind of thing that you can follow along with and do. But that's
Clairvo is the other one that talk to me AI or something like that. Is another one, but then what are you gonna say?
Yeah, I was gonna say two things for me, right? You're right, everyone's struggling to learn, for sure, right? But I have a pretty straight up answer on this thing, and many people don't like using the word, but almost everything that you read on LinkedIn and Twitter is bullshit. People are putting out their stuff that's saying, look what I built the agent that solved all the problems overnight. I built this and magically did this, and X happened, and leads happened, and SDR happened, all bullshit. Everyone's trying to sell you something, everyone's trying to make it sound very easy. It is not easy. Things do break. You can build an awesome agent. It is not perfect. It is not one prompt in that gives you the perfect application for enterprise. So don't fall for that and feel like the first time you try, you're like, oh my God, like, this is not as perfect as I thought. Because they're showing you the final perfect run. It doesn't matter, like Peacock, LinkedIn, whatever. It's an interesting idea. Take it as an idea and be like, how do I do this? That's the point about it. And you have to learn, you have to iterate. The first thing I say is like, if you're not an engineer, and if you're not a real, like actually writing code for the last 10 years, most of these things, you're gonna start out and build something completely trash. You're gonna build completely trash. But that's okay, that's the point. Accept it, go build the second one, go build the third one, go build the fifth one. And I promise you, after a bunch of iterations, it'll still be trash. But it'll get better. It will get a lot better. By 10 point, it probably will be awesome. But all the YouTube videos, find the podcast, but the answer is to find time to do it. There is no other way, guys. You have to go try it. Spend the $20 on Codex or Claude or whatever it is if your team's not giving you, right? Spend the money.
Or you put in 6 months.
6 months.
For 5
months, which is awesome too.
So,
good for exactly one of you. Everyone else
can you share like 6 different people?
No one would. No one
That's
would.
fair. That's fair. Okay, so let's go back to tactical real fast. It's one of the last questions. Where are you seeing the biggest productivity unlocks? And where has AI fallen flat? I've got plenty of examples myself, but then I'm going to start with you first because you kind of have the view into all the internal workings of Docebo.
I think AI has truly, to me, the biggest factor. So it's been knowledge over the last 6, 8 months, probably sort of longer, 2 years. It's been unlocking the organization knowledge has been a big one. Like giving AI the ability to query and understand, get questions back out of a platform. That's been really powerful for the last couple of years and building things out of it. I think that has changed the game of like folks interacting with data, doing something with it, and generating a brief, or generating an output, generating an email. Something valid for the client, paid for it, for the validator, and it truly has unlocked, and things go faster on it. I don't think that's the be-all, end-all. I think really it is you can do a lot more with it, and you'll get more and more out of it. I think where it has fallen, at the same time, sorry, that's been the 2 years. Right now, for me, it's the builders. It's the people who are taking the ability to being like, I used to do this in an application, and it's not that good, but I can do this better. I can build it on my own, I can do a different output on it, I can get data output that I just couldn't do before. Like you had to depend on data teams and engineers in the past, and like what I see from the marketing team blows my mind every week. And not Colin paying to say that, but like it's awesome. The team can like interact with data, build an application, and get something real out there that just wasn't possible. You needed 4 people to do it, and now you can do it on you and +1 being the clock, and you can do that all with it. Where it falls flat to me right now in most enterprises is long-living agents. The long-living agents meaning people have this hope of like an agent that is smart enough that is going to do everyone's job. I think it's not quite there. The marketing pitch is solid for it, it's not quite there, but I think it will eventually get there. I do believe, if you guys anyone played OpenClaw, because I live and breathe in it, it is fantastic. What it can like, you get a set of instructions, and you're giving it instructions not through code or even like CLI. You're literally talking to it in WhatsApp. You could be like, build me an app. Or you could be like, call me, go search 10 leads tomorrow and call it. And it's gonna build the app, go to 11 Labs and connect the phone line and do it. And you just be like, I don't know how it's doing it, but it's just doing it. It can do that for you. I think that is the future of now and the next year, where that will become much more available in enterprise and mid-market organizations where you have an enterprise version of cloud.
I'll comment on most, I'll keep mine short. The biggest thing I've noticed is that it's, when people use it for internal communications, it's very easy to do it badly. It's so easy to do it badly, and there's nothing more frustrating than reading an email that you know someone didn't write. And it's just.
For me, it's a PowerPoint.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Can you repeat what you just said?
I hate when you send me emails. You know, when.
That's fair. I don't do that too often.
No, you write most of your stuff, I think. But, you know, when you're reading an email, you know that the person didn't write it, and maybe they read it before they sent it to you, and they're just like, yep, that's good.
I thought it was a 40-page minimum.
The 42-page memos from your boss, those are good too. But I mean, fundamentally though, the thing is that I've gone kind of full circle. There was a period of time where I was like, I had my agent, and I trained it how to speak like me, and like never use M dashes because that's a giveaway, right? Like, I did the thing, and I sent a bunch of emails that way, and they were fine, and they got the job done, and they communicated correctly, and I did add my own color. But these days, I'm just like genuinely writing emails again, which is kind of funny. My inbox is almost useless, I will say, at this point, because the value that I extract from the emails that I'm getting is not amazing. But I will say it means a lot when I see someone respond to one of my threads in like just like 2 lines. Like, I hear what you're saying, I think this is a great idea, let's try this. There's no way that an AI wrote that. Like, yes, thank you.
Even better when you just put emojis.
Sure, just communicate via interpretive dance. That's the next layer of AI. But genuinely, I think communication has deeply suffered in this age. And communication is one of the most important things. Remember, like, product, engineering, and design, marketing, all of these teams have to work so closely together to communicate ideas clearly and succinctly. And when it's just your Anthropic talking to my Anthropic bot, like, it's just so useless, and fundamentally you're gonna end up shipping something that is broken, and you're gonna find out like halfway through the implementation. So just communication is once again one of the most important skills. Even if it is assisted by AI, it really has to be your thoughts and your mind. So.
Yeah, I'll add one thing then. Do we have Q&A, Nikki? Yeah, we do some Q&A. Great.
We can skip our proselytizing and
Yeah, well, we're done talking about that. But for me, I think that we have a ton of productivity unlocks that we've found in marketing, but ultimately the biggest failure is when we build a bunch of the same, like everybody goes out and builds their website or vibe code something, and it's all connected to different data sources. If I get another ideal client profile vibe code website from a marketer that's disconnected to something, I'll lose my mind, right? But I think it's just that it was disconnected from the knowledge, the context. And now that we have that, we're building towards that, it's just so much easier. And you see the productivity gains and the efficiency faster because it's connected to one source. And some of you might be in the room thinking, well, hell yeah, definitely. Why didn't you do that to begin with? That's not common. It's not common for people to think about right now. So for me, it's making sure you get the foundation correct and then building on top of that.
one thing I'll throw out for folks that are like in the market for jobs and all that kind of stuff, if you have the knowledge of product or design or engineering and a mindset to get into operations, it's probably one of the most interesting times to get into an ops role. And it's one of those things that like, it's kind of like one of those like left-hand curve career paths that could be really, really lucrative for people if you have the right background, right knowledge, and then you get into a place where you can help people like us sort some of these problems out. Just throwing that out there. So
You're talking about
like
web ops, AI ops.
I mean ops in general.
Anything with an ops.
My current favorite person on earth besides my dog is my RevOps director. My product operations director. He's keeping me sane.
Our RevOps director is also brilliant.
Also great, but my personal favorite. So product operations has become more important than ever before just because of how chaotic this stuff can be and how much organization is really required to get it right. So it's not just engineers, it's not just design that's leading the future, it is genuinely like the operations people that help us stay safe. So we can probably go to Q&A. I don't know, we're kind of over time. I don't know.
It's up to you, Nikki.
I got time.
It's up to you.
Yeah, I still want to be Mike.
probably all share one. My product managers loves creating mock-ups and has moved so quickly in building new capabilities and building new kind of mocks. The engineering team is really closely working with him. So he's got like a team of 3 people he's working with that they turn a genuinely vibe-coded instance of something, a feature, into a new capability. It was like 2 months between like when the PM vibe-coded it and then it actually became a new capability. The other thing I will say is one of our executives vibe-coded an entirely new module for our platform, and that turned into a thing that we're actually building right now. So in one case, we used the vibe code and turned it into something real. In the other case, we used it as like an example of what it could look like. Genuinely, we threw away the vibe code version. Pretty sure Peacock, we threw away the entire. Yeah, he's like nodding. He's like, yeah, that was crazy. But like genuinely, someone could vibe code something as a proof of concept to show everyone this is how it would work. And even though we didn't use any of the code, it was still super valuable in driving in the direction of where we went. We threw away all the code and we started from scratch with like good old-fashioned engineers. But fundamentally, that was built from nothing, completely vibe-coded, and drove that idea.
So Amanda is here. I'm not going to make you talk, but she is basically the one that you can wait though. Amanda's here. On the marketing team, she's the one that drives all of our innovation around AI, and we have an audience insights tool that takes in thousands of data points, gone calls, and surfaces new insights that happen between prospects and customers constantly. And it helps us messaging and positioning standpoint. It makes it very clean for us to try to figure out how to shift how we're talking to personas in the market, but that was all made. I know I'm butchering what it actually meant. Amanda's like sitting here like, oh my God, he's butchering it. It's been very valuable, and she knows I very much appreciate it, but that's one. You probably have multiple examples.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we have seen really good examples of build for different parts of the organization. Even the Inspire app comes to mind, where we collected feedback from all the customers quickly on our AI features. That was literally built by the marketing team.
Yeah, we had our user conference in Miami where we launched an agent builder survey and had half the room fill it out, and we did it all through AI.
By the way, I hate the word vibe coding, so I'm not cringing saying it myself.
Is that not cool anymore?
No, I don't think so. It's just building at this point. We call it vibe building day. We call it build day.
What are you supposed to say? What are you supposed to say?
Just build. We're building, man. Nobody to judge.
Fine.
But I would say like we've had a legal team recently like built some example. We've had a solution team building out how do you move data across system stuff that we could like they would need to be dependent on engineers. They could do more and more of. I'll always say none of it's perfect. The good V1 looks great and it's great. We can make it more better. But I just fundamentally believe that we're in that point in time where more and more people are going to be able to do it in a short period of time.
Another question.
Hey, this is a bit of a controversial question.
Oh, good.
I'm also
Go for it.
I'm actually working in a SaaS industry right now. So my company's a SaaS provider, and I'm pretty sure you've heard about it. SaaS is dead. What's your take on that very controversial thing right now?
You get Kyle.
I mean, like the SaaS apocalypse that I've been hearing about. Do you have an hour?
Yeah.
Because it's not, but go ahead.
I mean, for the same.
Does anybody remember blockchain? Alright, that's my answer.
I'm sure many people are still invested. And by the way, I will say it's worth something like $100,000 right now, so it's probably a bad example. But I do think it's actually really relevant. I think more and more the moat that there's going to be. So Docebo is fundamentally a learning platform, and in 6 months there will be 40 new learning platforms built by many different people. In many cases, built by one person. Sometimes built by a team of 5 or whatever. And that's going to be a big team. And they're going to be compelling for essential use cases. They're going to solve problems that companies up to 100, maybe even 200 or 300 people can solve. And they can use those systems. And they will be marginally successful, and they'll probably have a cool business. Some of them will turn into genuine competitors to us, and that'll take years. Some of them will fade away. The real differentiator is in the way that you organize data, that you execute at scale, that you know, the SOC 2 Type 2 audit, your FedRAMP compliance, like all of these really difficult hurdles that you have to jump over to prove to different governing bodies that you didn't just buy code this thing, that you're running an enterprise organization off the software. So do you think people are going to just rip out Salesforce tomorrow because they were like, yeah, man, I coded the CRM? Like, no, there's too much riding on, there's too much hooked up to it, they have too much data control. So one of the things that we're thinking about is like the way that our moat is set up. It's about the data about people. What are their skills? What are their certifications? What are they trained on? What have they failed in? All these different things. And could you vibe code a beautiful front end? Yes. In fact, I created a mock of our entire front end, and it took about a weekend. Didn't take that
I will
long.
never forget when I was in the Toronto office and Scott walked in with his laptop open while walking into the office, coding while building while walking. I'll never forget, he was so excited. And it was cool.
And it was cool. It was cool because you can make a system that looks like our system, and it takes a weekend, especially if you feed it screenshots of our system. But fundamentally, the mechanisms that make this happen at scale, the ability to enroll 2 million people into training in 30 seconds or whatever, like whatever goal that a company has. These are the hard problems that are solved at scale by really talented engineering teams that are 300-400 people strong. So are there going to be lots of contenders nipping at our heels? 100%. Are we going to get sublimated tomorrow by a brand new vibe-coded platform? No. There's too much institutional knowledge, too much data, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
All right, next.
This is a question for you, Scott, and probably a more personal question than an organization question. I
Favorite
know
color
that
is
you're
orange.
taking notes of everybody's fine, I want to do that. How do you store the information? I'm trying to connect my Claude with Obsidian. It's that famous undata party knowledge management system. What are you using to track everything?
What are we using as a knowledge management? What am I using as a knowledge management system? So I mentioned that my note-taker app is like, I live and die by that thing, and I have personal and work and interesting ideas. I love video games. I play a game called Stellaris. It's basically like spreadsheets. So I've got that. I've got a whole thing that
Sounds riveting.
It is. So Notion is kind of my main personal database area just because it's so flexible. There's a lot of really great integrations with it. Granola, for example, can write the transcripts from my calls directly into Notion. And so anywhere that I can easily tap into that body of knowledge. The only other thing is like, obviously there has to be a wall between professional and personal in some cases. Like, as an executive in a software company, I'm very careful about our security and what is shared externally. So I kind of have two places, like my personal and then external, but Notion is genuinely where I store most of my stuff digitally. I've also just really been returning pen and paper a lot these days, and I write more than I've ever written before. My writing is still terrible, but I'm like all caps, I'm like one of those weirdos, but I write a lot of that kind of stuff, and then it just helps me internalize, because I know my note taker is going, and it's going to capture the big things. So what I'll do is I'll write down on paper like the word that made the most, like when I was preparing for the conversation today, I was in the car actually driving down, writing down stuff that I thought was relevant, and I'm like, taste matters. Like those are two words that I said, taste matters, because it means a lot to me. Now, my notes take 2 pages, but taste matters. So 3 different systems, personal, professional, and then paper.
I'm gonna just put one tip in there. Look into Gbrain from Gary Tan. He's released, it's open source completely. You guys can go up there. Gary Tan's a Y Combinator's CEO. And he's got pretty interesting, I'm a fan of what he's got out there, but it's based on Obsidian, it's based on Claude, and it does a phenomenal job. People love it, runs a community memory, so it's a really good job.
For the super nerds, try Obsidian.
Super nerds.
Yeah, it took a while for me to get used to, but it's very powerful.
Thank you. I'm coming from the LMS space. I'm working with SaaS. But I've always...
Which one? Which enemy?
Not your enemy.
No, Not an enemy? That's good.
No. I'm working with Claude. It's basically an edtech space working with schools. So not an enemy for sure,
Alright.
but something space like
All right, you can ask your question.
Okay, so being at the customer success side, I always feel like there are customers who are demanding for change with the innovation coming in, and then you have the other side who want the stability because you have just trained them, right? And as you mentioned while talking to us that you have a list of features that you want to release, and it's not okay to let your sales be ready with the next pitch and showing it to the customers. So 2 questions here: how do you strike this balance? And second, are you using any AI tool or anything that helps you make those decisions, and how they are taken? Yeah. Thank you.
Great question. It's funny because AI tools to help me make decisions, sure, I run ideas by Sonnet all the time, right, just to get ideas back. But in terms of like, how do we handle our release cycles and release schedule to customers like that? Right now, the solution for us was to build what we call like the app launcher or like a launchpad, where we will push code to production but not turn on those capabilities. There's a lot of feature flagging happening. So where we've got a new release, we actually just released a bunch of stuff. What was it yesterday? Yesterday was a big release. Okay, so I should know that. So we just did a big release, and it was like 10 different features, but they were almost all turned off by default, and then an individual customer can then turn them on when they're ready, when they're happy. It requires pretty good sandbox environments. Like you need to give them a sandbox environment so they can turn it on and try it and feel comfortable and all that kind of stuff. So it's a multi-step process. It's not a simple solve. It's not a new problem. It's just an exacerbated problem. It's just much more stressful for folks. And the other thing that I noticed that the more we dig into, especially these days, we're really going down the compliance road. Like we've solved pretty comprehensively, like IT companies. When you go to like Google or something, maybe a bad example, but when you go to like a really big software company that's like really excited about technology, they want those features every day. They want like a continuous release cycle essentially. And then you go to like some of the major banking organizations in the world, and they're like, you get one release a year, please. Like, we want nothing more than that. So there has to be a middle ground. There has to be a way to release things. So basically, the way that we're doing it is feature flags, control in the customer's hands, release as fast as we feel that we can enable the field and the teams, but then allow the customer to take that last final step themselves and turn it on, especially if it changes the workflow that they have. So, yeah. And then I've got a dream, by the way, of splitting our release cycle into 2 paths, but I haven't convinced engineering of that yet. Which is one would be continuous release, and the other one would be once a quarter.
No.
We're out of questions, or we?
Yeah, let's do one more. You have your hand up.
Find me out.
Hi there. This is a good one.
All right.
So I work with a lot of nonprofits, and within the nonprofit space, we find that technical or technological adoption is tremendously slow, at least with the organizations that I partner with. And I recognize that there are, I want to say, limitations based on funding and stuff like that. But I'm frequently the resource, I will call it, that they ask their technical questions to, like, which AI tool should we use? Now, is there something that you might be able to recommend, or a process that you might be able to recommend to start to get them to leverage things that are already available to them without scaring them away from the technology that they have at their fingertips in order to enable them?
I'm going to take the version 1 of that and let Scott and Kyle take another version of it. I always have to say that people say I want to use AI and they don't actually know what that means. Because the word AI is really broad. And when someone says, how should we leverage AI in an organization, I think that's the wrong question to have. The right question to frame it in is to change it instead and be like, what is the problem you're trying to solve? Like, are you just trying to create a website? That's the problem? Or are you trying to like automate a workflow for your organization? Are you trying to build something different? And I think it's really important to like focus on the problem. I tend to ask lots of whys, just like why? Why do you want to do this thing? Is it something cool that you watched online? You thought it was interesting? Or are you actually like trying to like, there's a reason you want to do it? And don't get me wrong, there is a good reason that some organizations are like, hey, we just need to look valid outside. So we need to like have some version of AI on our website, just slap down and be like, we got AI, and they just want to put a chatbot on the website that makes them feel like they're using AI, and that's okay if that makes them feel better about it. But that's not really changing the workflow. That's not really changing the organization, probably not the team, what they're trying to get at. But I spend a lot of time usually on focusing on like, what if you redid the whole workflow the way it existed? What if you like took a minute and being like, why do you do this? What if it didn't exist? What if the customer wasn't in there? And you kind of rebuild the whole workflow. I think that's where the power comes in. So hopefully, I think I would recommend more than anything else instead of technology or your choices. It's just like understand the problem more, ask a lot more whys, help them reframe the problem on what they're trying to do, and find the cheapest way of getting there. Don't spend it.
Even, let's dumb it down even more than that, right? I think for me, initially, it's pick a very simple use case that AI can solve and just go show them. Draft an email, draft a piece of content, draft the brochure that they probably paid somebody $2,000 for. Not that you need to outsource all design, designers in the front row here, brilliant designers in the front row that work at Docebo. But there are use cases that you can kind of bring them along to say, look what this can do if you just kind of, and you can teach them. And then those are like really easy things where they're not unlocking the database with people's banking information, donors' banking information, right, that type of stuff.
I think part of it is also understanding deeply the level of competence and comfort that your audience has. The kind of tools that I put in front of my team at work are very different than the kind of tools I put in front of my mom, right? And I think, my mom's a super user, so she gets the most complex stuff. No, but it's,
I don't know.
No, she's not believing me. But I think the point is like, for her, limiting the scope and possibilities intentionally was liberating for her. When I said, and I learned this the hard way, she was like, okay, I want to use AI. Like, she has some plans that she wants to learn how to take care of. And she's like, I want to use AI. I'm like, okay, great. Do you have any preferred model? That's an insane question to ask that person. So you really have to realize that in some cases, you as somebody who is pretty educated, who has a pretty good understanding, again, we all know what we don't know, but pick something. Say, we're going to use Gemini. Why? Because it hooks up to your camera and your phone is Android. That's a good enough reason. But start simple, have an opinion, guide people down a path. Don't make it overly complex, overly optional, and say, okay, pick your favorite model. Here's the token count for this one. So just simplify, streamline, make some decisions for them, and know that you're not going to get the exact right answer, but you're going to get pretty darn close, and much closer than they would get if they were left to their own device. And so it's people in this room, that if you're nerdy enough to show up to have this kind of conversation with us, you're capable of driving people down a path and having that probably a good path. So be confident yourself.
Don't use Siri.
Just
That's my parting thought.
Apple AI is not a thing.
All right. Thank you all for listening to us. Much appreciated. Anything else to say?
Have raffle winners.
Okay,
Raffle winners.
For the socks?
Socks and Claude.
We're not giving one Claude, though, right? Just the socks, right?
Your little socks. How many have you got? I have 11.
7, 8, 9, 10.
9 socks.
10 socks.
Okay, I'm going to read out some names if you want to come up and grab the socks, and then I'll read the clock.
And the loser has to wear Nitin's sock. He has a pair already on.
Is Mindy Bars here?
We start with the socks. Yeah, we'll hand them out.
Jagdeep Singh.
Jackie saying.
Nini Nguyen. Are you still here? Yeah. Hey. Loon. Is Loon still here?
In the back.
Okay. Yay. Pavel. Sorry, I didn't push that. Pavel. No. Okay. Shirley C. Oh.
There you go.
Yay. How many are we at? Okay, we got more. Justin Bento. Is he? Oh, there he is. In the back. one of our volunteers. John Malapit. EJ? Is it EJ?
One
I
more.
have one up here too.
Two more.
Yulia Barabanova. Kenny Yan.
All right, and this is the last one.
And the last one's Claude Victoria S. Yay! I will say
I like how you came up to gather your Claude.
give away one more.
We're going to give away one more.
One more Claude.
Saley Dabholhak. Okay, I will email you both after we're going to get it together.
Cool. What's next? Just
What's next? Okay, so just really networking, mingling. We have this space till 8:30. Talent is here if you want to chat with them about anything.
yeah, we got roles in engineering and product and design, stuff that's not even posted. So come give us.
Come chat with
Come
them.
chat.
Oh, do you want to put the role? Okay. The QR code is there, but.
Yep. All right. Thanks everybody.